There is no future for any separatism. I know that India has traditionally had good relations with Russia, and I can understand why India doesn't want to disrupt that good relationship. But plainly, Russia is the aggressor in Ukraine. It's a vicious... Well, India is the heart of the Quad. India is, in a sense, the point of the Quad. It's inevitable that as time goes by, there will be increasing tensions between China and all of its neighbours. There is no future for any separatism. I think that people who might be unhappy with the status quo should work within the system to make it better, rather than engaging in divisive and at times potentially violent activities against modern, democratic, pluralist India. Well, I'm here to listen, and obviously we've listened this morning to an Indian government minister talking about climate. We've listened to a very interesting discussion, including Foreign Affairs Minister Jaishankar, on the state of the contemporary world. And we've just heard from the new Director of Intelligence in the Trump administration. And I guess the great thing about the Raisina dialogue is that it's a wonderful showcase for Indian soft power, and it attracts a lot of significant leaders and thinkers from all over the world. So I'm here to listen, I'm here to learn, and to the extent that I have something to contribute, I'll do my best.
How do you see India-Australia ties as we move forward, so since you have close relations with India?
I really want those ties between India and Australia to develop further. I think that it's inevitable that as time goes by, there will be increasing tensions between China and all of its neighbours. As long as China remains a communist dictatorship, I think it's inevitable that that will sadly be the case. And I think it's going to be very important in that event for all of the democracies of the Indo-Pacific to stand together, not against anyone, but in favour of the rule of law, in favour of peaceful coexistence, and against coercion and bullying.
So India is the host for the Quad summit this year. Mm-hmm. What are your views on the Quad, and what can we expect from this year's Quad, and how important is India as a part?
Well, India is the heart of the Quad. India is, in a sense, the point of the Quad, because but for Shinzo Abe of Japan and Narendra Modi of India, the Quad wouldn't really exist. If it develops as it should, the Quad will be the most significant geopolitical development since the formation of NATO. I stress that the Quad is not against anyone, but what it's for is really significant. The Quad is for democracy, the rule of law, and the rights of all countries to exist in peace without bullying from large and aggressive neighbours. And particularly given the way China, under the current leadership, has bullied all of its neighbours, I think the Quad is incredibly important. Now, the Quad has no formal structures. The Quad has no written documents. It's a bit like the Five Eyes, and the Five Eyes security partnership has probably been the most important security partnership the world has ever known. And if the leaders of the Quad countries respect the Quad, contribute to it, work on it, the same way the Five Eyes partnership has been respected and worked upon these last 7 decades, well, I think the Quad could be an extraordinary force for peace and development in the decades to come.
So just last question, we have 2 ongoing wars, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza. How do you view the situation, and also what will your comment on India's role in this?
Well, I know that India has traditionally had good relations with Russia, and I can understand why India doesn't want to disrupt that good relationship. But plainly, Russia is the aggressor in Ukraine. It's a vicious imperialist war that Russia is waging in Ukraine. I can understand why everyone wants to see the war come to an end as soon as possible. I want to see the war come to an end as soon as possible, but it's got to come to an end on a just basis. And if the Ukrainians are expected to trade territory, it's got to be for real security. And the only real security is security guaranteed by the presence of serious troops from serious countries that will ensure that any ceasefire does not just become a brief pause.